confession time. I suck at self-care. Hi, I'm Sam and welcome to my channel. I started this channel about 3 years ago and I had some really great intentions because I believe that self-care is right at the heart of everything that we do. And if it's not, I feel like our life gets out of balance. So I decided to start a channel to educate people about the importance of self-care and how self-care is not just about nice things that you can do for yourself. It's sometimes forcing yourself to do the really hard things, even though you don't want to, because it's actually going to make your life better in the long run, even though it's uncomfortable in the short term. And that sounds really great, and it was while I had it going. It lasted for a couple of months, and then life got in the way, and I stopped. I think the biggest reason that I stopped, though, is because it felt hypocritical to educate people about the importance of self-care when I wasn't looking after myself. It's kind of like the barber's son always needs a haircut. I know how important self-care is, and I do know that implementing self-care into my life has really changed the way that I function. But is everything awesome? No, and I really want it to be. 3 years ago when I started this channel, I was recovering from postnatal depression. I had had depression for a really long time before that, about 20 years, but had never really sought help beyond talking to somebody for a bit and then kind of stopping when things were fine. Nothing was really fine. I was just using my own unhealthy coping mechanisms and I was functioning. I was doing some things, but I certainly wasn't thriving. After my daughter was born, everything went totally down the tubes. I'm really lucky I got diagnosed early. I got the help that I needed. I had therapy and medication and a very supportive partner, which is like, oh my God, changed everything for me. If he hadn't have been as supportive as he was, I probably wouldn't have recovered. And I actually did recover from my depression, which is something I never thought would happen. I was happy most of the time. I had down days and it took me a while to realize that everybody has down days, but they don't turn into a down week or a down month or a down year. So it took a while to kind of balance out that idea that I could still feel sad and it wasn't the end of the world. I recovered, which was awesome. And a big part of that was I wanted to look after myself, especially after my second daughter was born. So now I have 2 children, and after you have a diagnosis of depression, which makes you more susceptible to postnatal depression, the 50-50 shot of whether you're going to get postnatal depression again. I assumed that I would, and I started putting in the hard work before my daughter was born. I went to therapy. I prepared to go back on medication if I needed to. After she was born, I was really lucky, and I didn't get postnatal depression the second time around, which really was amazing. I really have a different relationship with parenting now than I did then. I found parenting really stressful and anxiety inducing, and every time my daughter cried, I would kind of seize up on the inside because I was so sure it was all my fault. After my second daughter was born, turns out I was just a super anxious, nervous, depressed mother. And once I didn't have those kind of feelings holding me down, I could really experience what it was like to have a baby and not just a small, dependent, squalling thing yelling at me all the time. Although she still did that. That's what babies do. So in 2019, about 5 months after my daughter was born, I decided I'm finally going to start taking better care of myself now. I started deliberately building self-care into my routine. When I decided to start looking after myself, it was because I had finally accepted myself exactly as I was. It's something I've talked about and hadn't been able to practice. I know self-acceptance was important, but it seemed like something for mentally healthy people who were able to just not hate who they were when they looked in the mirror, and that just wasn't me. Once I started accepting me, all of me, all the lumps and bumps and curls and glasses and everything I thought I didn't like about myself, it stopped being important, and I started putting my view on other things. Once I started caring about myself, I started uncovering this little personality that I didn't realize that I had. I had opinions on clothes. I liked certain types of fashion. I liked makeup. I didn't realize that I liked any of that stuff until I started exploring who I was, what my values are, what makes me me on the inside, And that then was free to kind of come on the outside. And the biggest takeaway that I had from all of this, that I was happy. And that was strange. As someone who had been chronically depressed for 20 plus years, I was happy a lot of the time. And I didn't realize that most people just didn't hate everything all the time. I was happy and it was awesome. And then it wasn't. I decided to go back to uni and start studying, and my first trimester was really successful. I was very lucky. I studied online. I did it when the kids were in bed. Somehow they managed to sleep just when I needed them to, so I could do the work that I had to do in order to hand in my assignments. And my first trimester went really well, but I started using old coping mechanisms of binge eating to kind of deal with the anxiety and stress that I felt from going back to uni, because it was tied up with a lot of like old personal emotions that I couldn't deal with. So I was binging, and I was still fine mentally. I was coping, all my assignments were getting handed in. I was starting to get a little stressed or whatever, but it was manageable. That old coping mechanism worked for a while. And then in November last year, Australia had those big catastrophic bushfires, and one of them was really close to my house. Luckily, my children and I, we weren't there. My husband got out just before the too late to leave warning. But my mental health went straight down the toilet. I was anxious all the time. I was constantly refreshing the fire tracking app. Is it out? Is it near us? Do we have a home? It's very sobering to have to go around your house to pack and think, what is dispensable? What can I leave? What has to come with me? Realizing that my entire life could potentially have to be summed up into a suitcase was really sobering. So luckily, our house was safe, and my family, most importantly, was safe. We came home and left the bags packed just in case we had to leave again. And that led to 2 months of pretty much constant fear. So my old coping mechanisms of binge eating, staying up too late, not looking after myself, depression, stress, anxiety, it all came bursting through because I was using old coping mechanisms, throwing in old habits, and I didn't have anything new to kind of say, well, binge eating worked then and it doesn't work now. What can I do instead? I didn't have anything already in place for that inevitable relapse because I was so busy being happy. I didn't want to think about the hard work of what if it comes back. And then, of course, after the bushfires, now we have the coronavirus pandemic. And everybody has to stay in their house, and there's a lot of fear every time you leave the house, and we can't see family and friends. And so after this 6+ months of constant fear, the anxiety is back, the depression is back, the old coping mechanisms were in place, but I have been working on trying new ones. And so far, that binge eating behavior is nowhere near as prevalent as it was. I did regain all of the weight I lost last year. It's not about weight for me, it's about health, and I wasn't being healthy. I was eating tons of sugar and junk food and stuff because it made me feel good, because I didn't have any other way of making myself feel good in that moment. So, all of that long-windedness to say, it's time to relaunch my channel. I had been thinking about it last year, before all this started, back when I was happy, things were working. But I've realized that more than ever, we need self-care. It's all a bit doom and gloom at the moment. And I was really, really struggling. So I'm gonna change direction of the channel slightly. I still want to be all about self-care. I think it's really important. And I do think that one day I'm going to have all of the tools and research and information that I need to educate people. But it feels hypocritical to try and educate people on the importance of self-care when I'm not practicing it. So, to start with, this channel is going to be about me practicing my own self-care. I have figured out 7 different areas of self-care that I want to focus on, Some of them will be daily tasks, others will be weekly or monthly. I'm going to do sum-ups of all the important things that I have learned. I'm going to break down what I do and how I do it into like bite-sized format so that it's easier to digest. It's really easy to say, oh, just practice self-care, just look after yourself. But no one talks about how to do it, and no one talks about how to do the hard stuff. And it's when you do the hard stuff that you change your life. I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. And this time, I want you to come with me. I'm going to show you everything. Hopefully, a lot more successes than failures, but I am prepared for failure. And I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to bring back the Never Have I Ever series. I want to try a whole bunch of hobbies that I've never done before. So I'm going to take a painting class online or a photography class, and you can look at how bad everything is. But maybe if I keep practicing, it'll get better. I have started doing journaling daily. I won't be showing the journal, but I've realized that the journals that are out there aren't working for me. So I'm going to design my own that's going to work for me, and I'll walk you through that. I'll show you what works, what doesn't. I've got so much content bubbling through my brain, and I've taken a break from uni because mental health is so much more important right now. But when that goes back, we'll be talking about studying and assignments and kids and relationships, and I have these 7 different areas that I think are really important that I'm going to go through in another video. But by focusing on these 7 different areas, I'm going to be able to really pinpoint what works, what doesn't, and what needs changing. One day, I'm going to be able to look back on this channel and go, you know what? That was not awesome. Life was not awesome. I was not thriving. I was just surviving. And now I want to thrive. I want to have an awesome life. I want my kids to have an awesome life. I want them to know how important self-care is, and I certainly can't teach them about it if I'm not doing it and showing them. So now I want to share all of that with you. I hope that you'll join me. I've got old videos that I'm just going to leave up, but I've got new content that I'm going to be bringing out every week. I've still got the Facebook page, and I will be sharing stuff on there. And eventually, who knows where this will go. Right now, it's going to start with me filming this video because that is a hard thing. But I'm practicing my self-care, and I knew how important this was to me to get this all restarted. And now I've done it. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are interested in watching me take better care of myself, maybe you'll pick up a thing or two. Maybe you'll be able to tell me how I'm doing it wrong and there's something else I should try. I would love to know. Let me know in the comments, is there something that you suck at when it comes to self-care? Is there a particular area that you struggle with? Because I'm always looking for content. I really want to help everyone that I can, anyone who needs it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.